All right, so today I want to talk a little bit more about routing and specifically how you can pass parameters to the URL so that can be picked up by the route, then maybe passed to a widget that's going to get rendered by that route. For example, in the default application, there's a profile widget that displays a username, and maybe you want that username to come from the URL of the actual route itself, right? So there's a really good documentation on the Dojo.io site on how you can go ahead and configure the route, the outlets, the router API, using the match details, which is pretty much what, no, it's a pretty powerful tool to get into some detailed routing stuff. We won't get too deep into it today. We're just going to worry about parameters. So here's the default app you get with Dojo. I have my home, my about, my profile, welcome Dojo user, of course. But maybe I want to pass parameters inside my profile. So what I can do, let me clean this up just a little bit. What I want to do is I want to pass some parameters with this link, right? And because this link comes from the routing API that is part of Dojo, it's going to go and take care of all the routing coolness for me. So there's a params object that I can define. And in this parameters object, I will define, whoops, not what I want to do. I actually want to create, because I forget I'm in TSX. So this could be an object and an object. I curly bracket around the objects, and I'll pass a username, property, and this username is going to be Dojo user. All right, so in order to use that parameter in the route, I need to update my route configuration. Let's go to the routes here. Let's go down to the profile widget, and in the path, what I want to do is I want to make it take a username. All right, so that's going to be the username object. This looks an awful lot like if you've done any kind of like Node servers, services, or any kind of web APIs at all, not just Node, but pretty much any web API uses kind of syntax where you wrap properties and brackets and the curly brackets, and then those properties can be extracted from parameters later on. Okay, so now the widget's been updated. I don't need to update profile, but I need to go ahead and here into my outlet and do a little bit of work, right? So for the outlet, what I want to do for profile is that instead of just having profile return the widget, it's going to return a function that will return the widget. And clean this up. I don't know why Vim's doing this. I've got some weird configurations somewhere. Okay, so what you're going to get here, pass in the argument, is going to be an object called match details. That's what it's referred to in the documentation, part of the API. There's stuff you can do with this. We're not going to, like I said, we're not going to worry too much about the details with that. But there is an object on the match details called params, right? And this is going to contain any parameters that are getting passed with the route. So then I can just go ahead over here and delete the name I'm putting in here. And I can just go ahead and say that's going to be equal to the params dot username. Now we're not quite done here yet. You'll see why in a second. So I got my home, about, profile. Oh, look at that, Dojo %20 user. All right, it's got the URL encoding going on here. So let's go ahead and let's fix that up. And you probably dump this into a small utility library inside of your application you can use. But I'm just going to say that, what should I call this? Name, let's call it, format. Formatted name is going to be equal to, going to take a string, and that is going to return, what is this? It's going to recur, we have to decode, so what is it? Decode URI. Yeah, decode URI. And we'll just return back that decoded string. And I just need to use this. So well, yeah, I don't need this. We'll just if I want to do kind of some error checking, I might do it up there. I might have a function to do this for me, but you know what? We're living on the edge here, people. Living on the edge. Yeah. All right. And boom, there we go. Cleaned up that URL, encoded URL that was passed with the parameters, and we're good to go. So that's how you can go ahead and use the routes along with the link widgets that are part of the routing API that comes with Dojo. So you can pass parameters around in the routing in your application.